Hello, you're tuning into the English News Bulletin here on VTV International Live. I'm Dương here in Hanoi, and in the following, we'll take a look at the headlines for this hour. The state president discusses China's illegal installment of the oil rig Haiyang Shuyou 981. Vietnam and the Customs Union concludes its sixth round of FTA negotiation. And later on, amid the tension in the EC, the press here in the country is fighting for sovereignty of the nation. Now, China's illegal placement of its oil rig Haiyang Shuyou 981 deep within Vietnam's continental shelf and exclusive economic zone has raised concerns both domestically and internationally. State President Giàn was interviewed by the Vietnam news agency on this issue.
In answering his assessment of Vietnamese people's patriotism and their way to express it after China's illegal placement of its oil rig in Vietnam's waters, President Giàn said the Vietnamese people have an ardent patriotic tradition. He is deeply moved by and respects the noble sentiment of them. All people united as one look towards the EC. People throughout the country express their patriotism in various creative ways. Vietnamese all over the world also voiced their strong protest against China's illegal act. They are resolved to defend their sovereignty by peaceful measures on the basis of international law. However, people should be vigilant against provocative words and acts in the name of patriotism. When the country faces difficulties and challenges, we should unite more than ever. It is obvious that division and provocation cannot help the country overcome challenges. When asked about his opinion on Vietnam-China economic ties, with many people saying Vietnam might become dependent on China economically, President Giàn said Vietnam has established trade and investment relations with more than 200 countries and territories since the đổi mới or renewal process. Vietnam always strives for mutual benefit and resolutely avoid becoming dependent on any country, both economically and politically. Vietnam economic and trade ties with China have seen a rapid development in recent years, but Vietnam's trade deficit has been growing, particularly in the import of materials for production. Some of our exports have focused too much on the Chinese market. In the field of bidding for EPC, BOT and equipment supply contracts, Chinese investors won a large number of contracts, but the quality and technology of many such contracts are not high, while costs usually inflated and the time of implementation is prolonged. This situation needs to be corrected as early as possible. Regarding an issue of great public concern of what policy and solutions the party and state have taken in response to China's rig, President Giàn said immediately after China illegally positioned its rig deep inside Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf, the party's Central Committee and the Politburo promptly drafted out guidelines to deal with the incident. On one hand, we firmly demand that China remove the rig out of our country's waters. On the other hand, we patiently try to maintain a peaceful environment for national construction and the friendly neighborliness with the Chinese people, on the basis of equality, mutual respect and mutual benefit. We have always employed peaceful measures while requesting China to show its goodwill to solve the problem by peaceful means, in line with international law and agreements between China and ASEAN and between China and Vietnam. Legal measures will be used when necessary to safeguard our country's sovereignty and territory. Vietnamese party and state are undertaking policies and measures to meet the just and aspirations of more than 90 million Vietnamese.
Now, an international conference opened in the central city of Da Nang on Friday morning. The theme of this conference was Paracel and Spratly Archipelagos, the true history. Many local and foreign scholars attended this event and presented their analyses as well as historical evidence regarding this matter. A closer look now in the following.
The delegates offer many viewpoints on the latest developments in the EC. They also discuss China's strategy as well as Vietnam's possibility of suing China at the International Tribunal. The delegates also confirmed the value of the historical evidence in relation to the EC tensions. Many have encouraged Vietnam to pursue a legal fight in which Vietnam should show the groundlessness of the so-called 9-dash line that China arbitrarily drew around the EC.
But as you could see in June,
if ASEAN countries continue to publicly protest China's illegal sovereignty claims at sea, the world will listen to you. I think that Vietnam should sue China in the same way the Philippines had done. I mean, you should challenge the authenticity of the EU line because it runs into Vietnam and other countries' economic zone and continental shelf.
According to specialists, Vietnam can offer legal valuable documents which prove that Vietnam has legally established and exercised its sovereignty over the Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa archipelagos in accordance with UNCLOS 1982. In light of this bank of compelling evidence, China's claim of sovereignty over these islands will be seen as weak and groundless.
We should show the international public our evidence. Firstly, this will let the Vietnamese people strengthen their trust in the justice of our claim. Secondly, it will let the global public understand the truth so that they will accompany us in our bid for justice.
As part of the event, the delegates also discussed the influence of the current East Sea tensions on peace and security in the Asia-Pacific region, as well as measures to resolve this tension.
Now, on Friday, judicial experts discussed the implementation of the 2013 Constitution and reviewing processes over existing laws to ensure that they are in line with the Constitution's articles on human rights. The event was held by the Steering Committee on Human Rights and the Ministry of Justice. Nearly 100 delegates from different ministries and agencies attended this event. At the conference, the delegates proposed to amend 14 laws because they have yet to approach the human rights articles in accordance with the 2013 Constitution. In fact, there are quite a lot of legal documents issued by authorities at different levels. However, we are quite slow in comparing the current legal documents regarding human rights in relation to Constitution's articles, so we may find that some current legal documents are unconstitutional. Some delegates said that unconstitutional legal documents on human rights should be announced and written off as soon as possible.
I think that the constitutional amendment involves many laws. Those which are urgent should be amended first and then followed by those laws which address the Constitution. After the initial review and gaining of results and plans for amendments, there should be a new law which ensures the implementation of the 2013 Constitution.
Many delegates also said the time between the adoption of the 2013 Constitution and when it took effect were quite short. Therefore, a plan to synchronize the legal system should be drawn up. However, according to the Ministry of Justice, the quick abrogation of some unconstitutional laws could lead to big legal loopholes.
The National Assembly's resolution stipulates that the jurisdiction over the unsuitable laws should be exercised immediately. That is right, but in reality, it is quite complicated because there must be suitable laws which are amended or newly issued in terms of procedures so that the jurisdiction can be exercised.
According to representatives of the Ministry of Justice, this is the last review before it submits its proposal to the Prime Minister and National Assembly. However, the ministries bear the main responsibilities for preparing and composing laws. It means that they should act jointly and proactively to really bring the 2013 Constitution's regulations on human rights into practice. The sixth round of the free trade agreement negotiations between Vietnam and the Customs Union of Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan took place in Sochi of Russia from the 16th to 20th of June. The Vietnamese Minister of Industry and Trade, Vũ Huy Hoàng, and the Eurasian Economic Commission Trade Minister, Andrei Slavnev, hosted the negotiations, accompanied by 8 working groups from both sides.
During the negotiations, terms regarding customs cooperation, rules of origin, and intellectual property were shortened. The parties also worked towards reaching a consensus on terms regarding open-door policies for goods, services, and investments in order to bring mutual benefits to both parties.
There are only a few problems with the proposal terms, and we are working to reach a compromise that will benefit both parties. We can firmly say that the 6th round of the negotiations made significant progress and added decisive factors for future negotiations.
After the establishment of the Euro-Asian Economic Union last May, negotiations became much easier, especially for legal-based terms.
The Euro-Asia Economic Union will work to speed up negotiations because the FTA agreement is significant to economic cooperation between Customs Union and Vietnam.
The 7th round of negotiations will take place from September 15 to 19 in Russia. The negotiation process between Vietnam and the Customs Unions of Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan will conclude at the end of this year.
Back on Thursday, the Hanoi Cooperative Alliance, in conjunction with the National Federation of the German Raiffeisen Cooperatives, or GGRV, held a training course in order to share their accounting experience to support cooperative development. Now, DGRV Southeast Asia Director Christian Albrecht conducted this course, which attracted over 100 representatives from cooperatives across the Hanoi metropolitan area.
For most of participating cooperative heads, accounting is a new concept. However, according to the 2012 law on cooperatives, accounting is now a mandatory component of cooperative linked to the General Cooperative Alliance. The process of accounting looks to monitor and verify the organizational activities of cooperatives, highlighting its strengths and weaknesses, thereby providing more effective operational and risk management solutions.
To be honest, we don't really understand how accounting works yet, but through this brief training course with a German expert, we've gotten a much better idea of how accounting could help us envision what we're doing right and wrong. The concept of accounting has been very vague for cooperatives here, but through events like this, we can understand the importance and necessity of having an accounting system. It opens up a new path for economic units to recognize their responsibilities and ensure the rights of their members.
The National Federation of the German Raiffeisen Cooperative, or DGRV, kickstarted a program to support Vietnamese cooperative in 1996. This program spanned many provinces and cities, namely Hanoi and the provinces of Thái Nguyên, Tiền Giang, An Giang, and Phú Thọ.
One of the weak points of Vietnamese cooperatives is maintaining a legal foundation. In Germany, we consider the role of a cooperative akin to an enterprise which functions based on market mechanisms. We hope to share this experience with Vietnam. In this way, cooperatives will have more of a competitive edge, and it will bring them alongside other enterprises.
90% of German cooperatives under DGRV have benefited from establishing a transparent accounting system. Accounting and bookkeeping are essential tools to ensuring the successful development of a cooperative.
A forum was held in Cần Thơ City in the Mekong Delta region on Friday to discuss the impacts of climate change in this region. Now, this event drew the participation of over 50 scientists and representatives from the Mekong Delta provinces. Delegates had a chance to learn more about the patterns of the changes in climate recorded in the Mekong Delta by the Cần Thơ Climate Change Office. Since 2011, the office has built a website about climate change, developed a database, as well as provided training for over 1,000 local officials regarding the importance of responding to the effects of climate change. In order to better deal with climate change and promote sustainable development in the region, delegates discussed practical measures in order to increase resilience to climate change in the Mekong Delta region, such as mangrove rehabilitation, as well as the capacity to forecast and respond to unexpected events. Coming up now on our live edition of VTV News, Vietnam's Revolutionary Press Day is celebrated today. And later on our weekly edition of Culture Watch, we'll meet with the members of Miracle Choir, giving underprivileged children a chance at learning music.
Exotic Vietnam is an intriguing blend of many charms. This land is where all manner of stunning landscapes await like a visual feast, rivaled only by the beauty of its people and their abundantly rich tradition and culture. Here is where you can relive the past in richest color or live it up in the bright lights of the big city. With so much more to offer, Vietnam is simply unforgettable.
Welcome back to VTV News Live. Today, June 21st, journalists nationwide are celebrating the Vietnam's Revolutionary Press Day. Now, on this day, 89 years ago, President Ho Chi Minh established the Thanh Niên, or Youth newspaper, laying the first brick in the foundation of Vietnam's revolutionary press. Since then, the Vietnam's Revolutionary Press Day has been celebrated every year to promote the role and social responsibility of the press, tighten the relations between journalists and the public, and also to solidify the party's leadership of journalism. In a Thursday meeting with press agencies, Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Đức Đam conveyed the Prime Minister's appreciation to the journalists who have stood alongside the government. Mr. Đam called journalism a useful tool in uniting people, as well as in enforcing guidelines and policies of the party and government. He expressed his hope that press agencies would continue to accurately reflect the society. Now, in recent weeks, many reporters and journalists have visited the Paracel archipelago. 20 reporters have been embedded there in order to record the latest images from around this troubled location. Now, the reporters are all very young and enthusiastic, and they are, as reported, struggling on the press battlefield in order to contribute towards the protecting of the country's sovereignty.
From the hotspot of the Paracel Islands, the latest news has been regularly sent to the public ever since the first days of China's illegal operation of its drilling rig within Vietnamese waters. For reporter Viễn Sự from Tuổi Trẻ newspaper, his journalistic role in the Paracel Islands is more than just responsibility, it's an honor.
In this trip to Paracel Islands, the many other reporters and I are working more like Vietnamese citizens than regular reporters. It's different from previous stories of breaking news, as well as the latest information from around China illegal drilling rig. We are also recording the human interest stories of Vietnamese journalists as normal citizens.
The smile of a 70-year-old fisherman in Quảng Ngãi who is determined to stay at sea, the enthusiasm of a young politician who forgot his seasickness to complete his mission, and colleagues who regularly reported the news and became bridges of information for the viewers at home. These are the images that will remain imprinted in the reporters' minds. Each strong-willed reporter has become a soldier on the media battlefield. The latest information and photographs from here are important items of evidence showing China's illegal and aggressive actions toward Vietnamese forces, which will inform the public opinion, and in particular will sway international opinions.
I highly appreciate the dedications of reporters and marine police, as well as the fishery control force. They have worked really hard to bring the latest and the most accurate information to audiences. Journalists use camera as their weapons. They are also Vietnamese soldiers. They use the report and pictures to protect the country's sovereignty.
From now until China withdraws its illegal drilling rig, reporters will keep accompanying the fishermen and marine police to complete their media mission. In Vietnam's Paracel Islands, the work of these reporters is not only part of their responsibility, it is also a way of confirming the country's sovereignty.
The Nhân dân, or People newspaper, on Friday launched a French version of its online website in a bid to attract more French readers from around the world. The version is the latest addition to Nhân dân current online websites, which already include versions in Vietnamese, English, and Chinese. Nhân dân editor-in-chief Thuận Hữu said that a French-language website was needed in order to offer information on every aspect of Vietnam to French-speaking communities, as well as the country is now seeking a deeper international integration, in particularly strengthening its ties with France and members of the Francophone community. He added that the French website would present Vietnam's policies and laws, promote the images of the Vietnamese country and people, as well as disseminate Vietnam's legal grounds for its sovereignty over its seas and islands. Nhân dân French language website can be accessed at fr.nhanzan.org.vn. It's time now for our weekly edition of Culture Watch. Now, music making is an emotional and physical experience, and thus learning to make music gives children the opportunity to discover not only their emotions, but also their physical bodies. Now, this philosophy has empowered Hanoi pianist Giàn and her husband, Korean conductor Park Sung-min, to create a free music program for underprivileged children here in the capital city of Hanoi. Our VTV reporter Huyên Chi has the story.
These children are known as the Miracle Choir. So, what is miraculous about them? And I'm standing right in front of the place where the miracle happens. This is the music room at the Korean International School in Hanoi, where these children practice for 2 hours every Sunday to prepare for this concert. But the true miracle here isn't just the music, it is how this music has changed these children's lives. Let's go and take a look. Korean conductor Park Sung-min and his wife, Vietnamese pianist Giàn founded the Miracle Choir in November 2013. Sponsored by the Dream Project of the Korean Culture Center in Hanoi and inspired by the world-famous non-profit educational program Our Systema, the Miracle Choir offers free music lessons for underprivileged children in the capital city.
I want the children happy with their life, and I believe that the music can change the children's life.
It is hard to believe that just over 3 years ago, 11-year-old Sung A-lu was living in a cave in a mountainous area of Cao Bằng province. He used to have to carry piles of wood perhaps heavier than himself every day to the local market to trade for food for his father and little brother. In 2011, with the help from Cao Bằng local government, Hanoi Humane Training Center, and other donors, A-lu's family moved to Hanoi to start a new life. Now he no longer has to worry about providing for his family. He goes to school every day and receives music lessons every weekend.
I've learned to sing many songs. I've also learned how to play basketball. When I'm performing, I feel very happy. I just try my best. When I grow up, I want to be a soccer player.
Every week, these children learn music through creative means, such as using hand claps to represent different musical pitches, making rhythm from bouncing a basketball, dancing, and using their bodies in response to the music they hear. With each class, the Miracle Choir becomes more and more like a family to them. where discipline and musical excellence are accompanied by love and personal transformation.
When they first started, they were a little shy. I still remember when I asked them some questions. They were all very quiet, and none of them dared to make eye contact with me. But things are very different now. They actively participate in class discussions, and they have more performing experience as well. They are even more confident than the teachers when they are on stage.
Since its beginning, the Miracle Choir has performed on stage 4 times, along with children from other choirs such as the Korean Children Choir and most recently the students from British Vietnam International School. Through these events, they have experienced the magical power of music, which is self-expression and harmonious friendship despite language barriers. Huyền Chi for Vietnam Television.
Also, as part of Culture Watch Now, we'll take a look at the upcoming cultural events.
As part of the 2014 Transitions Tour, Singapore contemporary pop band The Observatory and Norwegian experimental rock band MOE will present 2 concerts in Vietnam. They will play on June the 27th in Hanoi and on June the 28th in Ho Chi Minh City. The subscription concert, Volume 71, by the Vietnam National Symphony Orchestra will take place at the Hanoi Opera House on June the 25th and 26th under the baton of famous Italian conductor Andrea Pestalozzi. The concert will feature classic works by worldwide famous composers, including Reverie for Orchestra E Major Opus 24, composed by Alexander Scriabin. Georgia Ruth, a Welsh harpist, singer-songwriter, and her band will play in Ho Chi Minh City's Conservatory of Music on July the 1st. Week of Pines, Ruth's debut album, was released in May 2013 and has since received enthusiastic praise from critics. Her exquisite songs, which are full of longing and melody, and angelic serene voice, will be a cooling balm to Vietnam's boiling hot midsummer weather.
And now let's have a look at your updated weather forecasts. And that wraps up this edition of VTV News. We'll be back again at 6 p.m. local time today for another bulletin. In the meantime, do log on to vtv4.vn for more updated news. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye for now.